Hi, girls. Today I want to read you a book about animals, real and pretend, called If I Ran the Zoo, and it's by a guy called Dr. Seuss. I also want to introduce you to my cat, Bella. There she is. Say hi. Cats don't talk. Isn't that weird? It's a pretty good zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, and the fellow who runs it seems proud of it, too. But there's a lion and the zookeeper. Let's see what happens next. But if I ran the zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes. That's just what I'd do. The lions and tigers and that kind of stuff they have up here, are not quite good enough. You see things like these in just any old zoo. They're awfully old-fashioned. I want something new. So, do you see that Gerald McGrew is now wearing the zookeeper's outfit, and the lion and the tiger are a little concerned? Oh my goodness. So I'd open each cage, I'd unlock every pen, let the animals go, and start over again. And somehow or other, I think I could find some beasts of a much more unusual kind. There's Gerald McGrew unlocking the cages or the enclosures for the animals. Our zoos these days have a little bit more room for the animals to move around. A 4-footed lion is not much of a beast. The one in my zoo will have 10 feet at least. 5 legs on the left, 5 more on the right. Then people will stare, and they'll say, "What a sight!" This new keeper, Gerald's quite keen. That's the gall-darndest lion I ever have seen. Let's count his feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 legs and 10 feet at the bottom of those legs. And Gerald McGrew is just riding on the back of the lion. My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people talk. My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people gawk at the strangest odd creatures that ever did walk. I'll get for my zoo a new sort of hen who roosts in another hen's topknot, and then another one roosts in the topknot of his, and another in his, and another in his, and so forth and upward and onward. Gee whiz! I know that they had to say his, but hens are typically girls that lay eggs, so we'll see how this process works out for young Gerald McGrew in the long run. I'll get this open further for you. But that's just a start. I'll do better than that. They'll see me next day in my zookeeper's hat, coming into my zoo with an elephant cat. They'll be so surprised they'll all swallow their gum. They'll ask, when they see my strange animals come, where do you suppose he gets things like that from? His animals all have such very odd faces. I'll bet he must hunt them in rather odd places. Well, an elephant cat. Have you ever seen an elephant cat before? Me neither. I bet it's a pretty nice animal, though, if it existed. Okay. And that's what I'll do, said young Gerald McGrew. If you want to catch beasts you don't see every day, you'll have to go places quite out of the way. You'll have to go places no others can get to. You'll have to get cold, and you have to get wet, too. Up past the North Pole, where the frozen winds squeal, I'll go and I'll hunt my Skeagolmobile, and bring back a family of what do you know, and that's how my new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will grow. I guess these guys are called What Do You Know? They kind of look like walruses, but it's hard to tell because it's just an illustration. But that's a very cool contraption that Gerald McGrew has. I wonder if you could build an approximation of that to play in. For pretend, of course. I'll hunt the mountains of Zomba Ma Tante with helpers who wear all their eyes at a slant, and capture a fine fluffy bird called the bustard, who only eats custard with sauce made of mustard. and also a very fine beast called the Flustard, who eats only mustard with sauces made of custard. Now, I pronounced that kind of a funny way. Mustard, like the yellow stuff that tastes yummy. Custard, like the thing made out of eggs that also tastes yummy. But Flustard is an unknown thing. And it does seem rather cruel to keep a beast that large in a cage. So, once again, don't do this at home. But you can still play pretend. I'll catch 'em in caves, I'll catch 'em in brooks, I'll catch 'em in crannies, I'll catch 'em in nooks. That you don't read about in geography books. I'll catch 'em in countries that no man can spell, like the country of Mata Fa Papa Fa Papa Patel. In a country like that, if a hunter is clever, he'll hunt up some beasts you never saw ever. Oh, this looks like an interesting place. I'll load up 5 boats with a family of jotes, whose feet are like crows, but wear squirrel skin coats, and sit down like dogs, but have voices like goats, excepting they can't sing the very high notes. What's the highest note you can sing? Whoa, that's high. Can you sing anything low? Whoa. Good job. Let's count these real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like you said, 5 boats with a family of jotes. And then I'll go down to the wilds of Nantucket and capture the family of lunks in a bucket. Then people will say, "Now I like that boy heaps. His new zoo, McGrew is growing by leaps. He captures them wild, he captures them meek, he captures them slim, and he captures them sleek. What do you suppose he will capture next week?" Wow. I'll capture one tiny, I'll capture one cute. I'll capture a deer that no hunter would shoot. A deer that's so nice he could sleep in your bed, if it weren't for those horns he has on his head. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be pokey to sleep in a bed with a deer that had that pokey of those kind of horns. It says City Zoo, G. McGrew, manager. And everybody's very excited to see what's coming next. And speaking of horns that are just a bit queer, I'll bring back a very odd family of deer. A father, a mother, 2 sisters, a brother, whose horns are connected from one to the other, whose horns are so mixed they can't tell them apart. Can't tell where they end, can't tell where they start. Each deer's mighty puzzled. He's never yet found if his horns are hers or the other way round. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can trace just one of these horns and see where it goes. Let's pick this one. Okay, this one goes zoop, doop, 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 doop. Okay, there's an end there, but it could also... Wait, this guy's connected to this guy? Oh my goodness, we could spend hours playing with this. Maybe someday we will. I'll capture them fat, I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mullitaguani, a high-stepping animal, fast as the wind, from the blistering sands of the desert of Zind. This beast is the beast that brave chieftains ride when they want to go fast and find some place to hide. If mulligatawny is fine for my zoo, and so is a chieftain, I'll bring one back too. I don't know about that. That seems especially... inhumane. In the far western part of southeast North Dakota lives a very fine animal called the Iota. I'll capture one who is even much finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. Excuse me, I didn't pronounce that correctly. Who is even much finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. There we go, I said it right. When people see him, they will say, "Now by thunder, this new zoo McGrew is really a wonder." Most beasts are quite friendly, but still, in some lands, some beasts are too dangerous to catch with bare hands. For those that are ugly and vicious and mean, I'll build a bad animal catching machine. It's rather expensive to build such a kit, but with it, a hunter can never get bit. A zoo should have bugs, so I'll capture a thwirl, whose legs are snarled up in a terrible snurl. And then I'll go out, I'll capture some chugs, some keen shooter, mean shooter, bean shooter bugs. Ooh, oh, that's kind of cute. I mean, it says they're mean, but isn't that adorable? They're shooting beans with these little trumpet things. I guess it's their noses. I'll go to the African island of Yurka and bring back a tizzle-topped tufted mazurka, a kind of a canary with a quite tall throat. His neck is so long, if he swallows an oat for breakfast on the first day of April, they say, it has to go down such a very long way, it gets to his stomach the 15th of May. Oh my goodness, look how long that throat is. So we're talking like 45 days for something to go down that throat. That's pretty long. How long does it take for an oat to go down your throat? Yeah, probably, 10 seconds at the most. At the most. I'll bag a big bug, who is very surprising. A feller who has a propeller for rising, and zooming around making cross-country hops from Texas to Boston with only 2 stops. Now that sort of thing is a bug, is just tops. I should say so. Yeah, it's so cool. It's like a little helicopter bug. The little feller has a propeller. And when I've caught him, the next thing you know, I'll go and I'll capture a wild tic-tac-toe. With X's that win and zeros that lose, he'll look good, mighty good in this zoo of McGrews. Do you guys know how to play tic-tac-toe? It's a pretty fun game. Play it together sometime. I'll bring back a gusset, a gherkin, a gasket, and also a gooch from the wilds of Nantasket. And 8 Persian princes will carry the basket. But what their names are, I don't know, so don't ask it. Well, that's also dehumanizing. He knows a gusset, a gherkin, and a gasket, and a gooch, but he doesn't know the names of these fine men who are doing some work to help him out? I wonder which one do you think is the gooch? Oh, maybe it's a gouch, and he's in a pouch. No, it's a gooch. Maybe it's a gooch with a pooch. Okay, let's see what's next. In a cave in Khartoum lives a beast called the Natch that no other hunter's been able to catch. He's hidden for years in his cave with a pouch, and no one's been able to make him come out. But I'll coax him with a wonderful meal that's cooked by my cooks in a cooker-mobile. Oh, that actually looks like it'd be a fun game to play. Cooker-mobile? You drive around and you cook? They'll fix up a dish that is just to his taste. 3 chicken croquettes made of library paste. Then sprinkled with peanut shucks, pickled and spiced. Then baked at 600 degrees and then iced. It's mighty hard cooking to cook up such feasts. But that's how the new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets beasts. Oh, do you see the chefs are, or maybe it's definitely 3 chefs walking across a tightrope to provide Gerald McGrew with the very bizarre food that is only fit to catch the Natch. I'll go far away to the mountains of Tobolsk. Near the river of Nobsk, I'll bring back an Obsk. That a sort of a thingamabobsk who only eats rhubarb and corn on the copsk. Then people will flock to my zoo in a mopsk. McGrew, they will say, does a wonderful jobsk. They said he'd do a wonderful jobsk. He hunts with such vim, he hunts with such vigor. His new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets bigger and bigger. Oh, there's the Obsk, and everybody's very excited to see it. What would you like to see at the zoo? Ooh, me too. And speaking of birds, there's a Russian Paluski, whose head ski is red ski and belly is blue ski. I'll get one of them for my Zooski McGrewski. Aw, look at these guys. I love them. Then the whole town will gasp, "Why, this boy never sleeps. No keeper before ever kept what he keeps. There's no telling what this young fellow will do. And then, just to show them, I'll sail to Catrue and bring back an Itchcook, a Preep, and a Prue, a Nurgle, a Nerd, and a Seersucker too. I'll hunt in the jungles of Hippo no Hungus and bring back a flock of wild Bippo no Bungus. The Bippo no Bungus from Hippo no Hungus are better than those down in Dippo no Dungus, and smarter than those out of Nippo no Nungus, and that's why I'll catch 'em in Hippo no Hungus. Instead of those others in Nungus and Dungus, the people will say when they see these bips bounding, this zookeeper and newkeeper is simply astounding. He travels so far that you'd think he would drop. When do you suppose this young fellow will stop? Well, I think that this young fellow is probably just fine the way that he is, and he doesn't need to impress people and get their praise, but maybe he'll learn that someday. Stop? Well, I should, but I won't stop until I've captured a Fizz-a-ma-wizz-a-ma-dill, the world's biggest bird from the island of Quark, who eats only pine trees and spits out the bark. And boy, when I get him back home to my park, the whole world will say, young McGrew's made his mark. He's built a zoo better than Noah's whole ark. These wonderful, marvelous beasts that he chooses have made him the greatest of all the McGrewses. Oh my goodness. We should be very careful. They don't want to hurt that guy. Oh, now McGrew's Zoo seems like a theme park. Look at all that stuff going on. All the people driving in. Wow, they'll all cheer. What this zoo must be worth. It's the gall-darndest zoo on the face of the earth. Yes, that's what I'd do, said young Gerald McGrew. I'd make a few changes if I ran the zoo. The end. Thanks for reading with me, girls. I love you. Bye.